horse drifted alarmingly in the betting was, Felsted in the morning continued to drift. He was late on the exchanges to lose. It was something you'd see in a Dick Francis novel, Charles Burns.
The ground is soft. It's
heavy.
It's soft on times.
It's heavy.
Okay.
Hello and welcome to the Sunday Sermon. It's that time of the week again where we're all sweating our bollocks off, minges off. Nevertheless,
I haven't got a minge. I don't even know what one is. That's the worrying thing.
Some of our listeners have.
No, very few.
Yeah, I think we've got about 3%.
Mainly sausage, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
That's the demographic, yeah.
So, time to stop scratching your balls and everything else and get listening to us because we've got an action-packed show. We're going to be discussing the racing review, lots of things. But first of all, chaps, I think we need to pay a hearty tribute to one of the legendary trainers of the game who passed away this week, aged 88. Barry Hills, B.W. Hills, famous Lamborn trainer who had a stellar career as a trainer, probably the big hitters back in the day. We've had a question on this already, John, and I think it's poignant that we reminisce here of the late, great Barry Hills. Simon Olden says, what was the panel's favourite Barry Hills trained horse? His was Further Flight, tough and never gave up, just like the trainer. Did the bastards use Barry Hills at the Lincoln meeting and Chester Cup meetings runners to fill the tank? John, give me some of your finest Barry Hills memories.
Well, the Chester meeting and the Doncaster meeting were legendary, really, because you can guarantee them having them ready for both. It always seemed like he won the Cheshire Oaks every year in the pre-Ed and O'Brien days. But, I mean, he was just generally a very, very good trainer, wasn't he? I mean, ignore him at your peril. That was the watchword with Barry Hills. I mean, especially if they got backed.
That's the thing, isn't it? Isn't it strange that you've got, like, training for Robert Sangster and the like, and he liked to bet, which is some of these trainers can't be bothered because it's like they don't need to.
I mean, when he won the Cambridge with Risen Moan, he basically kept us in business when we had the betting shops because we took fortunes for Malotti with having a shop at Lingdale.
Yeah.
And we basically had the lot on Risen Moan. So if Risen Moan hadn't beat Malotti, it was going to be names and addresses plays in the shop.
You stole me thunder there. The most memorable horse I've got of Barry Hills is not necessarily his best ones, like Sir Harry Lewis and Gildor and like a lot of the top class ones. It was actually Risen Moon for the reasons you mentioned. I can remember it was like 1990, I think it was. I was in college. I was fucking on my arse. No money at the time, thinking, what do I do to get some money, and borrowing like 20 quid off me nan. Instead of using it to like go out, it went on Risen Moon for Cambridgeshire. Honestly, never rode a horse home so much in my life. So same as you, so different reasons. He was my favourite. I mean, Barry Hills, obviously, we're going to discuss the Irish Derby in a minute, but trained an Irish Derby winner as well with Sir Harry Lewis under John Reid in the saddle. What's your theory, like with Barry Hills? Does he go off the boil then after Chester for a bit? Is that what we're saying? Like for a minute?
Gone off the ball now, hasn't he? Fucking hell.
Yeah.
I think so, when I was punting. I don't remember that theory costing me a right lot, Like, I don't remember him being a particularly big problem at Ascot or, say, the Magnet Cup meeting or the Eber meeting, he didn't get his winners there, but not to the extent where he was 5 or 6 winners at a meeting,
Yeah, I mean, your favourite horse, I'd agree with Simon, actually, with Further Flight. I like a genuine animal. It's a bit like Sir Stuart Williams' winner yesterday. When we talk about genuine animals, Quinault, just like tough as teak. Further Flight was like that. He could go to war with anything. And, yeah, I liked him a lot.
I think maybe distant relative, I also have a fairly great regard for him. I thought it was a very, very good miler. Probably just a bit unlucky to be around the same time as Zilzo. The following year, he pretty much won everything he ended with.
Tribute there to Barry Hills. Just talking about like trainers of yesteryear. Are we in a phase at the moment where there are lots of trainers, the younger side, the younger element. Me and you both feel, don't we, that the trainers of today
come up massively short.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Would you agree Charlie Hills is not as good as his dad?
You know? Yeah, I think you've managed to wrangle that out of me. These young trainers now, you've got the likes of Bowie, George Scott, Charlie Fellows, who I think still looking for a winner this year.
On turf, anyway.
Yeah, you know, I mean, the Racing Post did a big feature on them about a month ago. The Brave New World at Newmarket, blah, 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 blah. And you look back at like late 80s and 90s, what was going on in Newmarket. You had the likes of Alex Scott, Alex Stewart. These are second tier trainers I'm talking about now. You know, I mean, obviously you had Cecil and Stoutway up there and what have you. But then you had the likes of Ben Hanbury that was absolutely lethal, you know.
Yeah.
Jeremy Tree, Gavin Hunter, John Winter, you know, really, really handy trainers, Jeremy Hindley. You look at what's coming through now and you think, Jesus Christ, you know, it's just short in every department, I'd say.
This brings us on again back to a favourite young trainer that we like, who obviously had a very bad accident on the gallops quite some time ago, which obviously affects her ability to work at 100%. Yet, Harriet Bethel, John, she's absolutely banging in the winners, right, left and centre.
She's sort of defying the record book, really. She seems to buy these old knackered, exposed handicappers with mouths like iron.
Yeah.
And no matter what, they get sweetened up. There's none of them go in there and come out worse horses. And I mean none. You know, everything that goes in there comes out with an increased rating.
Yeah.
Which is something, you know. I mean, this doesn't happen with Northern trainers in the main.
You think as well, and this is what sort of disappoints me a bit, because I agree with everything you've just said, and I think she deserves some better quality of horse. And I see horse watchers of Centre One, but some bigger owners I think should take a look at Harriet, because this is no fluke. They're turning out to the racecourse beautifully conditioned. There seems plenty of condition on them when they turn up. They're not like, as you put it in your columns, John, a gutted herring. They all look fabulous. ITV Racing loves a story. Don't they? They love a story. The Harriet story is bringing back up again. Tragic accident in the face of adversity, has to give up a lot in her life, and yet she's back now and she's running the yard and training them to the best of her ability and proven now. So if you're out there, you're an owner.
Here is that you never ever see one of hers turn its toes up. They never duck the issue. You know?
No.
Well, we can test that theory. If we bought a horse and sent it to her, it would regress by about 5 stone, wouldn't it? Everything would be riddled with AIDS, and she'd have to
no,
business.
No.
It would. No,
we'd finish second 4 times, but
yeah. And people would be chasing us out the yard with burning pitchforks, wouldn't they? You know, get these cancerous people out of the yard. God, yes. Yeah, true.
Great mention there for Harriet. And another lady in racing, again, I know we've talked about before on the show, everyone will think we're fanboys, but Jo Mason, it's not really for what she's done in the saddle this week. It's just, if you follow the Instagram account of Jo Mason, she's currently working with GBR Horse Racing on some promoting racing. And this week, she had them, how quick jockeys can stack cups, plastic cups. In other words, testing the reaction times. And it's really funny. Things like that, I think the more people do like that, when you're spending racing's money in terms of this budget we've got to improve the sort of profile of the sport, getting people like Jo Mason on social media to do fun things is a way of getting the youngsters liking it. It's fun. But again, it's just all positive. It's all like, this is what racing needs. It's not necessarily selling the horse flesh for now, but creating engagement, which is important for the other side of things, you know, which is obviously the horse. Praises out to Jo Mason from me anyways. John, your thoughts on Jo?
I think she is quite simply one of the best people in racing.
More than us. No, I'm not. I'm not having that. I'm not having us kicked out. But no.
Yeah. She just
Has
scares
she?
us, Chris, and I'll tell you for what. Whoever she would meet at the races would be met with exactly the same positivity and friendliness.
You want to test that?
Be it Lady Bamford, who a normal person will want to immediately take a swing at, or the likes of us, who, again, a normal person will want to take a swing at.
Yeah.
Honestly, she's just a genuine, lovely person and puts herself out for racing, and somebody who deserves more opportunities than she gets, which is unusual for us to say, I know.
No.
But
fair enough.
So come on, it's not toxic masculinity on this show. Two ladies there that are flying the flag, I think. British racing and achievements beyond what they should be doing.
Tune in next week for our Angela Rayner special.
Yeah, the Growler Prowler, it's called. Yeah.
Ginger Growler, etc. Rob is sort of echoing our sentiment. Rob, thank you for your point. The low-grade stuff allows the new, smaller trainers to find their feet with cast softs. Look at Harriet Bethel and Jack Shannon, 25% strike rates this season. Yet Tim Easterby, 10%. Richard Fahey, 8%. Keep getting the valuable horses to train. Absolutely agree with that, Rob. And that's why we've made the point that Harriet Bethel should be getting a better standard of horse sent to her. Her attention to detail is certainly quite good from what I've seen. Coming on to racing review time, and we go back to Saturday, John. Me and you, it's fair to say, we felt fairly flat yesterday with regard to the plate meeting, etc.
Yeah, I mean, what's the definition of whelmed? Because we're certainly underwhelmed, whatever whelmed is.
Yeah, I know. I felt the same.
I could have done with being more whelmed.
Yeah, whelmed rather than underwhelmed.
It was a bit, well, I say, the Saturday after Ascot's going to be a tester, isn't it? Anyway, but it was a bit too much of a test for me.
I know exactly what you mean.
I felt mentally divorced from it.
Let's ignore fucking plate meeting and let's go to the Curragh on Saturday, where I believe producers just annoying me now saying that, bursted into song saying "I believe I can fly." Right,
I was thinking I believe in rock and roll as well, so we're on the same wavelength. I was thinking
early stud stakes, the Group 2 2-year-old race. John, I think we've seen something pretty special win that race. A horse called Beautify under Ryan Moore, who, by the way, Ryan Moore is probably, I would say, £3 in excess of any jockey, any of the other top jockeys riding, and he'd be £5 to £10 better than the average rest. And the way he rode this, where he crossed over and just slightly hampered Lady Imam, as if to say, I'll give you a little bump there early in the race to send her a little bit keen under Colin Keane. Beautify pulled away very strongly after looking in trouble when Lady Imam travelled up like a travelly thing. But then Beautify absolutely pulverised her in the final furlong in a time, right? This is the impressive thing, which I really, it's like the wow factor. It was faster by 0.7 than Damba Diplomat, the 5-year-old that won the handicap off 87. So we're talking probably we're talking like over half a second, 0.7 faster. That's seriously impressive to do that at this stage of development. Physically, she looks quite good, like she's going to blossom. If she turned up in the superlative HQ, John, she'd be an absolute banker, wouldn't she?
Yeah, I tend to think she won't, because I think Brussels will turn up in that. I think he'll run the colt rather than the filly. I think he'll maybe hang on to her a little bit now. He's not only broke a maiden, he's got an integral company straight away.
You said that to me. It's interesting that Aidan doesn't usually go straight from maidens, having not won one as well, into group.
He tends not to pitch a maiden in to something like that unless, and it was a case of unless yesterday, wasn't it? I mean, for me, she's put herself just banging the Guinness picture straight away.
Have you seen the pedigree? She's so stout on the dam side. She's probably no right to be winning.
Well, she hasn't. I mean, you look at that and you think, Jesus Christ, she can go there at this trip. Just wait and see, You wouldn't be shitting yourself about the Oaks.
No, absolutely not. I think this is the main one.
This could be one of the ones when you see the rating and see what you can
It's
do
like
at
Peep
6.
Show, isn't it? This is the one.
Yeah. This is the crack that Silverhands has always been looking for.
I think she's special, really special. Keep your eyes on her, and if you see any anti-purse markets, I think me and John wouldn't be averse to having a longer range punt at the 1,000 guinea and the Oaks if the odds were sort of favourable at this stage, because I think she is the real deal. So we'll come on to Whirl in the Pretty Polly, and again, ridden supremely well by the maestro, Ryan Moore.
You'd have to make him favourite if the Harriet Bethel job came up anytime soon.
If Harriet Bethel wants a return rider, then Ryan Moore should be choosing that one, I think. What is it, John, with Aidan O'Brien and fillies? I would say 90% plus of his good fillies, they've all got the same trait, toughness, real toughness.
He's like the anti-Henry Cecil, isn't he? Henry Cecil was incredible with fillies, and it was the case of if they had a hard race, Jesus Christ, they turned out in the Rose Garden and we'd go and have an afternoon chat with them and all the rest of it, and Aidan had run them twice the next week. When you see the programme that Aidan puts together for some of his better fillies, you think it's bordering on animal abuse, and yet they just seem to absolutely thrive on it. Just get tougher and tougher. I mean, that fucking thing fought like a Comanche. Yes, you were never getting beat.
Grey filly they had, Winter. That was the same. You could run that 20 times a season.
They're $1 a dozen. They're $1 a dozen up there. Honestly, I think nearly everything that comes out the fucking yard. It wouldn't have mattered if Cal Parner had brought a gun yesterday. You know? You wish you wouldn't win in that.
A gun. Mental image. So, yeah, she probably weren't cherry ripe, in fairness to Cal Parner. I reckon they've got, like, better targets over 1.5 miles and whatever beyond. But
they probably have, but they won't be rushing to run into air again.
Not on a front-running track, anyway. That's the one thing, and we'll touch on this now. The thing with Curragh, it does lend to front-running, especially when the wind's behind it. I think it's a southwesterly over the weekend, which is slightly behind. And I just think sometimes they're hard to peg back. And this is where we'll come on to it now, because we'll look today at the Irish Derby. For me, this was a really, really weird race. Lambourne, Ryan basically said, right, well, I'm not giving up the lead or the joint lead for nobody. And that's unusual for Ryan to do that, because he must have felt that you have to be like riding forwards on this.
Quite often when he's hell bent on getting to the front like that, he stuffs up. As well. It's not a good sign, for me anyway, when Ryan Moore was nudging along 10 furlongs out to maintain his position at the front of the pack. I thought at the time, he was getting sucked in here, but he wasn't.
There'll be a few people knocking this performance, and there's probably plenty of reason to do so, in the Serious Contender, who was second to Merchant at Royal Ascot, looking a big threat in the final furlong, nearly mowing him down. There'll be a few like picking bones in it, but because how the Curragh rides, I don't know, like that's not Ryan's first choice to do. He's not going to do that if it turns up somewhere else over 1.5 miles. He will ride the course, I think, to what he thinks it's riding like. The thing is, if anyone cribs the form, then you've got to take on the Time Lords, because the time was ludicrously quick. It was nearly 4 seconds quicker than standard. There you go. Serious Contenders probably step forward. The Derby form's been held up with Lazy Griffin third. It's probably concrete form for the 3-year-olds. How it matches up with the elders, John?
My gut feeling is that these aren't as good as the older ones, but the time there today would have you having a bit of a racing. I mean, and visually today, when they turned into the straight, I was absolutely convinced something was going to come from the back.
Yep, I would say as you watching it, yeah.
Belfast had gone. I thought, oh, which one of these pick up from out back here? Nothing happened.
Yeah. Sadly, the Beckett horse, Pride of Arras, that we were so behind after the Dante, clearly is a miss. It ran a miss in the Derby. It's ran a miss today.
Astonishing decision in this.
We had a phone chat and we said about, surely Beckett must know that this is well enough to run after that, you know. I mean, we even said, didn't we, if it was ours, we'd have probably turned this out.
Bring it in next
May. Yeah. That'd have been stout, wouldn't it? That'd have been typical stout.
Oh, that shitty race at the end of the season, Mark, it's over 9. Yeah. There's no way you'd have seen it July or August. or maybe even September. That little bowl around it, October, and then see you next year, boy. Couldn't believe it ran so soon after bombing out. And now he's bombed out again. Now he's got a proper headache, hasn't he, with it?
He has, because I don't know where you go now, because it looks broken. Question from John Mack, which is quite interesting, because it's on the Pretty Polly on Saturday. Guy, he says, when is the baby Joseph permitted to go back to his front-running tactics with the filly We Might Take the Long Way against World? Obviously, it made all at Navan in the Group 3, and then couldn't get it front in the Oaks, and then held it up in the Pretty Polly, which is kind of strange tactics for a front-running type. So, John Mack, I think this is like everything. Trainers have targets for horses, and I can't give you the answer. Do you sense a bit so the baby Joseph has maybe done the lads a favour here in not taking on Whirl up front?
Well, the last time I mentioned the baby Joseph, when I had Kevin Blake wanting to strangle me and refused to talk to me before Ascot.
Really? What was that about? What did he say?
I spoke to him about 2 days before Ascot. Well, I messaged him, and he said, given your evisceration of how we had 2 weeks ago on the podcast, he said, I'm surprised you didn't want to speak to me.
I see. Gosh. Dear.
But I mean, he's all right, Kev. We're all right.
Good-natured banter, they call that, you see.
Yeah, that's about the size of it. And I did end up tipping quite a few of their horses at Ascot, and obviously they all got
they showed you, didn't they?
My original evisceration was quite correct.
They put you away there to fucking stop them all. Yeah.
Well, I said my evisceration of the end was quite correct. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a yard that usually gets caught cold on tactics. I mean, I think Blake is well aware of when you need to be in front, when you can do without being, so on and so forth. So I would tend to think he'll get it right more than get it wrong.
Yeah. Blakey, if you're listening,
send us some winners. We're going
send us some winners.
There. Come on, tell us a fucking winner. We'll send money. Odds to 50. We get you on at best price. But
no, Kevin, why was the plan to hold that filly up in the Pretty Polly you made all at Navan? Was it a thing where you just thought that we'll try this or try something different? But message John. That's the way forward. Coming on to more questions, obviously, which is to do with the racing at the weekend. Paul S. has been on. Betting on a Saturday is the quickest way to the workhouse. To be honest, he makes a point, because obviously it's the most competitive racing. There's nothing finer than digging one out at 9 to 4 at Plumpton on a Monday. Goes off 4 to 5.
Yeah, Gary Moore.
Yeah, Gary Moore, the Jelly Bean.
Overnight, smash
lovely,
it.
lovely.
It drifts all morning, and you think,
cash
out. Yeah, exactly. It drifts in the morning, you cash out, because they knock it out, and then it collapses again. You're like, oh, fuck it. So, yeah.
His question is, any tracks that you won't bet at, John? Like, you just say no.
I'll say he listed, actually, for starters.
He can't mention July Course, he says, because he knows you don't like that one.
No, but I mean, I think you mentioned Hamilton, Brighton, and...
Hamilton, Brighton, Foss Lass, he doesn't like it.
Foss Lass, horrible.
Well, if you count on one hand the amount of bets I've had at them 3 courses in the last 10 years.
At Paul S., I agree. Brighton, for me, is an absolute kip. The reason being is when the weather turns shit, it's whoever bags the stands rail. Really annoying to bet at.
Brighton's like Redkey. You need to be a regular, because it's same horses run it every night.
Tony Carroll Benefit Fund, isn't it?
If you can be asked, like a bit like what I do with Redkey, really. I mean, obviously, I much prefer betting there because it's local. I know more about the horses. A similar approach would yield profits at Brighton, probably. I can't be asked myself.
I agree. Brighton's probably my key one that I rarely study myself, unless it's in my tracker and it's running there. I don't even look at it, perfectly honest. So I would say that, Paul. Paul, you're in good company there. Rory says, I try not to let what I think is a shit ride annoy me. It does happen. But the one that got to him the other day, he said he felt like jumping off at the last. I'll be gracious now and put down to stupidity at the time. What do you guys think of the standard? I think he's saying jockeyship. Who gives you confidence? This ties in with what Owen Haley says.
Yeah.
He wants to know which jockey is currently underrated.
Rusty Lee.
Clifford Lee?
Well, not the cook, not the cook from GMTV. No, we worked that out.
He's ran He's had a better calibre of horse these days, and he's making a reasonably good job of it, I think. You wouldn't think he was stepping up a division.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem phased, and he's not making many mistakes. Which is
I'll go with an apprentice then for Owen and Rory. Nicola Burns.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, she's really good. Really good.
If the question is it one for the future or one that gives you confidence? I can't remember the question. What was it? Or both, or either.
Hang on. So I'm trying to answer two questions at once. Like Owen Daly, wants Jockeys out the box. Nicola Burns in Ireland, the £7 apprentice, she's mustard for that. She'd piss on Haley, literally, as well. Like stand over.
Like that, wouldn't it? You paid to see that, wouldn't you?
There's a video in there somewhere, isn't there?
There's an OnlyFans there. There's a right quick to be made. Yeah.
There you go, Nicola Burns.
Here's my fiver. Yeah.
Nicola Burns, you can earn plenty.
Fiver from me, that's for sure. Yeah.
Just ring up, Haley. So Rory says, so what do you think of the standard? Who gives you confidence? It is the main boys, really. You know Ryan Moore, for example, Skakuza today at the Curragh, right? Ryan Moore said to the travelling head lad, who don't give instructions, Skakuza's normally ridden a bit more patient than what he was today. But Ryan just said, well, from the one box, if I go back, I might get trapped. They might not go fast enough. It's a waste of time. I've got to make use of it. And so basically, Ryan changed the tactics himself and pissed up. And that's the difference. That's the difference with the top lads. They've got a brain and they think. Back in the day, John, he was the same. He was studious. He knew what he wanted to be on, didn't he? He went round saying, I want to be on this one. Or he'd know what was the right horse to be on, because that's how he rode so many winners. Because he'd ring a trainer up and say, fuck, I want to be on this one. Probably in a language that you can't understand, because you couldn't understand him. But, exactly. I'm on this one.
I think, right, confidence-wise, you're going to laugh at this, and everyone will laugh. But he's been in more plots than EastEnders, and he rarely fucks up when the money's down, is Shane Kelly. There you go. He gives me enormous... Listen, I'm not talking about, when it's low-grade stuff and the dough's down, you can guarantee that he's one of the few that will make the fewest amount of mistakes. And because he's used to riding plots, buzzers, punts, etc., Shane Kelly rarely fucks up when the money's down over the years.
I'm certainly not going to disagree with you. There's a reason why Barney Curley use certain jockeys. And you know this, Chris, you're shrewd enough to know this. Everyone likes Tom Queally off. But the thing is, Tom Queally got the job done when the catch was down.
And that's the same with Shane Kelly. Cool as you like, not necessarily pleasing on the eye, will not be riding many high-profile horses, etc. When the dough's down, and you look at the yards that use him when the cash is down, they're not fools. And he rarely gets it wrong. If a horse is good enough and the money's down, it will win.
I think, like Curley, not only was he shrewd in... Well, I said shrewd, he just fucking bent. He got him £30 million. But right. Do you think he used jockeys that he knew had got great heads? Like, in other words, not fucking idiots. He probably heard a gossip, this guy's in the pub, he's 6 pints and falling down the street and might be talented, but can you rely on him on D-Day if he hadn't gone to the pub night before? Correct. And this is it. I reckon he did his background research into him, I think.
Absolutely. And from a former individual that took over that yard, the primary concern was, not can you just do the job, but can you keep your mouth shut? And I think with Tom Queally and Kelly, I think he's not only were they really cool under pressure, they keep their mouth shut. They're not necessarily going to be out telling anyone, "Call, fuck me, I rode one the other day that's got about 2 stone in hand. Give me a call when you see it running." None of that. Keep your head down, do the business.
Well, that was the rule, wasn't it? Curly's rule was like,
tell no one.
No one. You know yourself, Chris, if you tell just one person, that one person can't help themselves, they're bet on, then tell their friend, who then tells their friend, who then tells somebody else. And then you only need one megaphone account or person to grab it to everyone, and before you know it, the job's done.
I mean, I remember Roger Ingram saying years and years ago to me, I mean, decades ago, he had a job, he started out a race, he worked with Martin Tay, right, who liked to bet, Roger's Princess and all that, and he was very similar in terms of keeping everyone in the dark. And he said, Tate sent all the lads home early one day, said, "Oh, you've been working so hard, go on, off you go, you don't have to come for evening stable." So Ingram went away and he thought, oh shit, I've left something back at the yard. So he thought, I better go back and grab it. And what he found out was that Tate was, basically saddling one horse of an evening meeting that he never bothered to tell anyone about it, driving the horse box himself, because that's the one he wanted to have a few quid on. Literally no one got to know that it was almost even running. And that's the idea, don't tell a soul. And he was going to do it all himself. Yeah. Just take the horse to take it back himself. No, there's no stable, there's no lead up, just him, because he wanted to have his few quid on, and it won. But so I think there's a lot to that with Curly. It was just tell no one. He pays for it. He runs the operation. That's it. You get paid for your time, and there's no perk.
I did like the Peter Chappell-Iam comment regarding Barry Hill. Peter Chappell-Iam, who obviously worked for Barry Hills before becoming a trainer, he said Barry would tantalise yard staff by saying he's got one that'll bolt up in a handicap. And he'd keep them all guessing. That's how good he was. He must have had a rider or a couple of riders. Well, basically, if he got Michael and Richard Hills, they're not going to say anything. He'd have, and he'd tell the staff, he just made them guess until Barry had got his money on.
Yeah.
Peter Chappell-Iam said they were all trying to guess which one it would be.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, they get it wrong, like which one it was that they'd got buckets in hand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it is good stuff. The good old betting tales, and we have to go back to good old betting tales because there's no good new betting tales because no one will take a fucking bet.
No, it's true.
Which is disgraceful. We move on to our next subject now. Fun racing chat there for sure. And we've had Oisin Murphy questions, and obviously for legal reasons, it is very unwise for us as a podcast to comment on anything to do with the case. Only what's in the public domain that Oisin Murphy has been charged with an offence, a motor traffic offence, which has obviously involved someone being injured. It's a drink driving offence. How are we sitting here? Because, Chris, I'm going to give you the dance floor here because we saw this morning on Nick Look TV, Racing TV, sorry. I might as well call it Nick Look TV, aren't you?
Yeah, it's sort of like Pebble Mill for people that live in Chipping Norton, isn't it? It's sort of like, people that buy those massive fucking Yankee candles to stick in their barn conversion.
Pebble Mill, that's fucking tremendous.
It's like Pebble Mill now, isn't it?
It's either Dave Yates or Cornelius Lyson.
Oh, fuck me.
Or Channing, etc. Anyway, so coming on to the point, racing seemed to, for me, this is what I felt. We're a show for mental health, so we understand we're big advocates of mental health. The producer is doing a walk next week. Sponsor her next week. Links are on her profile, the producer. And that's for mental health, for racing welfare. But I think they're overplaying the card here, do you think, on racing TV? What's your thoughts on what was said?
It's a really tricky one, isn't it? Because I think racing doesn't know what to do with Oisin Murphy. And, the problem you've got is that social media, everyone on social media thinks they know what happened. But we have got something in this country called presumption of innocence. Whatever you think of the individual, he has been charged, but he's not been convicted of any offence. Now, people may think they know what happened and what kind of penalties are going to be levied because he's going to be found guilty. The fact is, only Oisin Murphy and, I guess to a lesser extent at the moment, the police and the CPS know what the situation is. So it would ill behove us to comment on any of the specifics. But the problem I think that people have with him is the way in which racing has chosen to deal with him. Now, his PR team have, I think, been faced with a binary decision. In light of the fact he's been charged, do we tell him to duck his nut? Put him on a very, very limited diet of rides until all this is blown over? Or do we press the go button and have him out in front of the cameras all the time and try and brazen this out? Either to make hay while the sun shines or to somehow build, up his PR rep. And that's the problem, I think that his PR team have got with him. The difficulty that I had with today's conversation was that, you had somebody, I think her name was Jane McGivern, who is, I think, the owner or the joint owner of Dash Stud, exhorting us all to show a little bit more empathy because, quote unquote, Oisin is a great guy and jockeys like him risk their lives for us as if we should be grateful on a daily basis. And who are we to comment on whatever demons this man, Oisin Murphy, is wrestling with? And by the way, at the end of the little sort of segment was, because this incident didn't happen anywhere near a race course and didn't involve any horses, we shouldn't even be talking about it. And that to me kind of epitomised exactly what racing's top table is about. It is populated almost exclusively, I think, by people that hate everybody else, right? And expressing an opinion is not simply legitimate. It's rather more a case of, you're not showing sufficient empathy or deference for those people who, what's the word, are kind enough to give you their time to put on a sport that you pay for. And to me, that kind of just summarised how out of touch people at racing's top table are. And as regards sort of showing empathy, etc., the lady in question is the CEO of a very large Saudi Arabian building project. So presumably her empathy doesn't extend to the individuals who are subject to the various human rights abuses that Saudi Arabia have been guilty of over the years. So, let's not take lectures from people who aren't qualified to lecture us on morality. The reality is that I think Oisin Murphy would be better off keeping quiet, because somebody was injured as a result of what he did or didn't do. And I think if 99% of people, had they been charged with an offence of that nature, would either have been suspended from work, or if they weren't suspended, would as individuals feel that they need to keep a low profile, irrespective whether it was their fault or not. Someone's been injured, it's a traumatic event. It's the decent thing to do to duck your nut and just get on with it quietly. And that's the difficulty, I think, that I have with racing. It's a failure to acknowledge that, a serious offence or a serious incident has taken place. Let's show some empathy and respect to those individuals who were affected by that, Oisin Murphy included. But let's just, just be a little bit kinder. Let's just back off and not parade this man in front of everybody and encourage everybody else to pipe down, because it's just not the right thing to do. And I just think they're so out of touch. I mean, I don't know what John thinks about it, but I just think it's just not the right way to behave.
Great points, Chris. And it's something that, I agree with a lot of what you say. I find this a really difficult thing to judge on, because obviously we are advocates of mental health, but at the same time, just because myself, I suffer from anxiety, depression, it doesn't mean I can go out and be lawless.
It's an explanation. It's not an excuse. Look, lots and lots of people, ourselves included, have suffered incredible trauma. I have in my life. Things that make your fucking teeth itch. Things that Oisin Murphy would gladly swap with what I've been through. But I don't parade it. I don't mention it. You just get on with it. And I think it's something slightly leaves a bad taste in the mouth about how his PR team are having him behave, and how racing is rallying around him, but not in the way that I think it should, in the way they're not expressing it in the way that I think we should. I think they should be saying to people, back off, let's keep it decent, let's keep it honest, let's wait until due process has had its day, and then we can criticize, but not exhorting people to shut the fuck up about it, because people have got an opinion. And I just think it's really bad PR, I think. And I don't think he's the most likable of characters. That's a personal view. I would find it difficult to rehabilitate him if I was his PR people, because I think he's very manufactured. And a lot of people take issue with that. I don't warm to the guy, and he's got form in the book. So if you've got form in the book, people are going to say, "Oh, he's fucked up again." And, just keep out of the public eye. Let due process have its day.
Okay, before I come on to John's view, just some listener sort of views on this. Luke Tucker, question, is there anyone in racing with morals left? Given the Murphy saga, mind-boggling gravy trainers staying radio silent. I understand why people are, though, in certain instances regarding the case, but you can certainly comment on the wider area. RD, I understand the legalities of it all, but this caper with Oisin half leave a bad taste in the mouth. Arguably the second most talented and high-profile jockey carrying off like this, and the heads are in the sand. No other sport has a murder like racing. Sickening, he says. And Mr. Steve, he's been on saying the same thing. John, I want just your own view as you sit right now on it.
Personally, I don't think racing has a blind clue how to help these jockeys. And I don't think it's any closer to having a blind clue than it was 40 years ago. The wasting and the dietary requirements that are placed on some of these lads is something we can't comprehend. You're thirsty all day. You're looking forward to a little sip of something when you suck your toothbrush in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not that. You're dehydrated all the time. Your breath stinks. Your guts are rumbling all day long. You're sweating. You're losing weight during the afternoon. And you got the temptation to put a bit of liquid back. You'll go all day, one of these hot days coming up, and don't have a drink all day. See how you cope on the night when the night comes round. Racing has never, ever given us stuff for these lads that's going through this, and never given them any proper support or encouragement. You know, I mean, I go back to when half the fucking weighing room was bulimic.
Mm.
It drove them crackers.
Is it why they all used to smoke?
Oh,
Yeah, appetite suppressed.
If it suppressed your appetite, they were doing it. You know, it was anything, because, I mean, as I said, you only have to go a day yourself with nothing to eat. You stretch that out to like 10 days where you may be having a little bit of salad on a night when you get in.
Mm.
You know, a couple of tomatoes and a lettuce.
I could dream of that.
A slice of chicken. You know, not a chicken breast, a slice of chicken. And people wonder why these lads are bouncing off.
But does that
walls.
excuse it, John? Does that? Because lots of guys and girls are going through that. I mean, specifically, does that give Oisin Murphy a pass? Do you think?
I think to a certain extent, because the sport doesn't know how to deal with them. You know, if somebody was behaving abominably, there should be somebody at the BHA who can deal with these situations. Go out and see the jockey and say, look, you need a spell on the sidelines. We're suspending your licence because you get.
But in that Struthers, PJ.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah, is that not his job?
Well, is it? Does he have a mandate to do it? Have the jockeys asked him to do it? The BHA as a regulator are in a position to impose that on the jockeys. Paul Struthers is there by the grace of the jockeys. Paul Struthers works for the jockeys. If the jockeys don't want Paul Struthers to do it, he ain't doing it. But the BHA, as regulators, can impose something like this.
I think there's a rule book thing here, though. It's what we've got is a jockey that is very personable to people on the racetrack, and when he appears on the racetrack, speaks well to interviews. Apparently, racing fans love him, and because he has time for them with selfies and speaking to.
Shit, yeah.
No.
I know you're saying. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Off the pitch, there is a serious issue. I agree with John. Is racing doing enough to help these guys? This is obviously a problem in Newmarket.
But these are grown men, aren't they? These are grown men. Yes, I get the employer has a sort of a duty of care for its, in quotes, employees, even if they are not strictly employees.
The grown men, Chris, but the absolute incessant grind of it, day in, day out.
But they don't have to do it, John. They don't have to do it.
No, but you're on this treadmill, and it just takes all rationality away. You can only see the treadmill in front of you. You can't see what's going on either side of you. It's just like, this is all I've got. You know, I mean, it gets worse and worse and worse, and drags them down.
This is good discussion. So we don't agree on this, but this is why people sometimes call us an echo chamber of a podcast.
They do. Yeah.
But yeah, because we do agree on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we do tend to. Yeah, but as you say, I mean, look, clearly we've got differing views, etc. But I think the PR handling of him, irrespective of who's right and who's wrong on the point of the grind, I think they've taken a misstep here, because I think it doesn't look good. I mean, I think, yes, if he doesn't want to have his license taken away, or there's no appetite, keep your head down, work hard, rebuild your reputation, in quotes, even though it has been tarnished a little bit, even though he hasn't been convicted of anything. But I think they're pushing him out there, and I think people are pushing back, thinking, "Oh, bloody hell! How must the family of the individual, all of that."
100%, Chris. He needs someone to put their arm around him and lock him in.
Correct. Yeah, that would be my take on it, I think. But very sad for everybody.
There's no plus for anyone here, and no one's mentioning that poor girl that's obviously had injuries, whether it's the fault of Oisin or not the fault of Oisin. We don't know. That's why we don't comment on the actual case. No one's mentioned that either, which I think this is why racing sometimes shoots itself in the foot.
Yes.
It has no sympathy for the other
party. It lacks it. You know what it is? I mean, it's a horrible phrase that PR people, not HR, rather, people try out. They lack emotional intelligence. right? And the individual on like I was saying we should show more empathy. Well, that's ironic because there was no empathy for the wider victims of that incident. And the decent thing would be to do is say it's terrible for all concerned. Let the law follow its full course, and that's it. Rather than criticising people for saying things, let's just show empathy for everybody involved, because it's a terrible situation for everyone, irrespective of who's right and who's wrong. Even if he's acquitted, there's still somebody that's injured as a result of an incident happening, and that individual should, deserves as much empathy as Oisin Murphy or anybody else involved in that, I think.
Correct. Well said, Chris. On to some different sort of questions now. Rap Podcast has been on, and he said, if Kneecap, you could address UK racing over the tannoy at Royal Ascot, what provocative statements would you come out with that would get the crowd and the police's attention? Jesus Christ.
Get off your knees, you serve-out cunt.
I'm going to say, Johnny, it's got a bit Royals in it. Stop waving them fucking flags.
Yeah, exactly. Gosh.
I don't know. I think I'd just play Scooter Nassaja over at Tannoy and get everyone bouncing.
You just go burr, burr, burr on the microphone. Burr, burr, burr. Yeah.
The painted cow. No, you don't remember that one.
No, I don't. I think it's just you, really. I think you imagined it. Literally, no one knows what you're on about.
Okay.
If my Republican rallying cry didn't have any impact, I'd probably just go ba 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 and see if they all kicked in with
exactly. Beach Boys, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it's like Cliff Richard at tennis, wasn't it?
Oh, fucking hell, yeah.
when it was raining.
That was horrible, wasn't it? Christ. Yeah.
Terrible.
Mind you, he fucked Una Stubbs, so snaps to him. He did. Yeah, he did.
I never knew that.
He absolutely did. Una Stubbs said that, she had a brief and passionate encounter with him. So there you go.
I think he paid.
Can't be a bit of old-fashioned shagging, can you?
Yeah.
How do you know it was old-fashioned? It might have been modern.
It might have been, yeah.
Just because it was young.
Yeah, he might have been pushing the boundaries.
You could have kept pace with everything that's going on these days, right till the end.
Yeah, man.
What foods will you not touch? So what's on the blacklist, lads? I've got a few here.
You start. You eat out, you would. You eat anything, wouldn't you?
Oxford One says he hasn't ate lamb for 35 years. I don't know why.
I'm with you on that. No, I'm with him on that. Filthy stuff. It's like people say, "Oh, it's the first of spring." I know. Let's kill a baby animal.
This is what John used to do. Yeah. He used to fucking go out in the country with his dad and fucking run over his
sheep. But that was the old days. We're in a modern world now. Oh, no, I agree with it's filthy stuff. Lamb, no bollocks to you all. No lamb for me for about the same amount of time.
Lamb's beautiful, isn't it, John? It's beautiful.
Yeah, in a field gambling around with its mum. Yeah, that's when the lambs are beautiful. God, you people are heartless.
The younger you can get the lamb, the better the sweetbreads are.
God, you're terrible people you are. I'm with the correspondent. No, nothing. No lamb for me. Won't touch it.
Nothing like a milk-fed lamb sweetbread.
A slow cooked lamb shank. There's nothing finer. Honestly.
I had one of them this morning before getting up. Yeah.
Falls off the fucking bone. It's absolutely lovely. Yeah. Oxford One, you're a disgrace.
No, he's not. He's bang on, boy, I tell you. Bang on.
Bert Doncaster says, anything that's kept in a jar, in a fridge. No, listen. Anything that's kept in a jar in a fridge. Pickle, beetroot, mayonnaise, gherkins.
Oh,
wrong.
Hummus.
Wrong.
Oh,
wrong. He's wrong on the pickles, and he's completely wrong. I mean, you couldn't be more wrong.
Even hummus
is
all right.
Beetroot.
You can take said hummus, spread it on a plate, steam broccoli on it, and then chili sauce all over the top of that, and it's fucking delicious.
He's wrong. He's objectively wrong.
Back.
Let's be having you. Yeah.
Let's be having you.
He's wrong.
But them two say you're wrong. I say you're right. I ate fucking gherkins. They're fucking.
I love gherkins. Oh, tremendous.
Awful things.
Oh, wonderful
awful things. Beetroot's disgraceful as well.
No, beetroot's lovely. Oh, what's wrong with you? Beetroot's glorious stuff on a salad.
Beetroot's awful.
No, it's not. It's lovely.
Sends your teeth purple.
Good. It's good. It's like you've been going down on someone, like when you got the old blood. Oh, fucking.
No.
Edit that
John,
out.
I need you two's opinions. What is the principal food you won't touch?
I tell you what, absolutely turns
Go on.
my stomach on these food review videos on YouTube. I often watch them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And whenever these fucking pricks go to a fish
Yeah.
and chip shop, they get the gravy,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
and they have the fish and chips, and they'll break a piece
Yeah.
of the fish off and
Yeah,
dip
that's
it
that
in
that
the gravy.
that's heresy.
That's the instant shot
Yeah.
on sight, and I'd do them in the fucking legs
Yeah.
first.
That's heresy. I agree with that. That's horrible.
From point of
Yeah,
principle.
agree.
Fucking dirty
Yeah, that's
bastards
filth, isn't it?
doing
That's
that.
filth. That's filth. Dates. I can't stand dates. Horrible things. Dates, revolt.
I'd say for me, I really hate brie, like the cheese.
Oh, I
brie.
love brie. Oh,
It's fucking rammel.
what's wrong with you?
Absolute
Oh,
rammel.
beautiful. Half of France is now marching over the channel to kill you. It's wonderful.
Yeah,
brie.
brie's terrible. I love my cheese. I love Stilton's. I love smelly one. There's a one I've tried at minute. It's called Producer. What's the one that it's called?
Knob cheese. Helmet Dale.
No.
Fred Lester.
Fred.
Willie Delphia. Yeah.
It is called.
Yeah,
This
go
is
on.
the best cheese. One of the.
Mm,
It's called Vintage Lincolnshire Poacher Cheese.
right.
Oh, hey, yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely fucking brilliant. Mature cheese. If you like your mature cheeses,
He
Yeah,
damns the other
yeah,
one. With an
brie, you can shove it right up your
No,
arse.
you're wrong.
Wedge
That's
it up.
bollocks. You don't know
So-
what you're on
yeah.
about. You don't know what you're on about.
Awful
bollocks.
people. I'm
No,
on this
good.
show.
Brie's lovely. Yeah.
No, the next thing. That's the food bit. We'll come on to ice lolly.
Fucking rubbish,
Right,
this
so-
is, isn't it? I mean, what's wrong with these people? Christ, it's meant to be horse racing, and all they want to know is about lollies, fucking cheese.
They don't
They
want to
do.
know.
No, they don't. They don't care.
It's fucking
Honestly.
weird. Right, so ice lollies.
Go on.
Paul S says
Yeah.
orange Calippo is elite for taste and keeping cool.
Mm.
Roscoe says favourite lolly is an old school pineapple mivvy. Obviously,
Okay.
mivvy's that's the ice cream one. It just sort of qualifies as a lolly. RD
Sure.
says fuck ice creams. £3 minimum for a 99 now. You get a pint
Yeah.
of Worthingtons in my local Weatherspoons for 99p. That's how to stay cool.
Yeah.
Rob says a funny foot. That's barred. That's an ice cream.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, for funny feet, yeah, funny faces,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
look like road accident victims, didn't they, when they melted, yeah.
Yeah, fuck
Yeah.
off, Rob. Terrible. Tips for keeping cool. If you have a loft, open the hatch. Hot air goes up to the roof cavity, leaving the lower floors marginally cooler. True that.
What
Better.
that didn't take into account though is
Everyone's fucking polite.
whatever he
Uh,
might have in his loft can then come down
uh,
and
Yeah,
get
it's
him.
true.
I've got a top tip. The producer is extremely shrewd. One of the
Yes.
shrewdest women.
A hot cookie, as they say in the
Yeah,
betting
she-
world. Yeah, hot cookie.
Yeah, you have to be good to beat her. And she bought a neck ring, which she actually put in the freezer.
A neck ring.
Yeah.
Are you sure? What you get that Ann Summers or something? Fucking now. Yeah.
No, what
Has it,
you're
got
thinking?
has it got fur on it or
No,
something?
no. Goes in the freezer,
Mm.
and then when it's a hot day like today, you put it around your neck, and literally it cools your entire core down.
Okay.
It's brilliant. The best purchase. They're really cheap. They're not expensive.
The neck ring,
Yes.
Chris, is actually an XXXXXXL.
I think it must be, yeah. I think it has to be. We've never heard of such a thing. I think there's
Honestly,
no such thing.
this
A
is
neck
mustard.
ring.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's absolutely brilliant.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
we'll have to look that up, I think. Good God.
What about favourite lollies, though? What's our favourite lolly? Orange
Ooh.
Valencia Aldi, and we've already said
Yeah.
it's quite barred.
You have, and you're right on that one. They're
Yeah.
really nice, aren't they?
Yeah.
I'm not really a lolly fan, to be honest. I'd prefer to have ice cream, so I'd be more kind of Magnum, which of course isn't a lolly. So I would have to step out of that one, I think.
Fucking
Ice
hell.
cream from.
Yeah, I like
Don't you like lollies? John?
I prefer a Magnum.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, we're on. Yeah, so you're wrong again, Lee. You're outvoted every time.
Pair of
By the-
cunts. Absolute-
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't deny that.
Yeah,
Christ.
terrible. Awful podcast today. Right, Colin Smith. The bar stewards are off to the seaside to enjoy the glorious sunshine.
Oh, yeah.
So, yes. Where is the destination of choice? And who from racing will be invited to enhance the experience? Chris, are you doing Canvey Island?
No, I'm not. I'd say the best beach holiday I had was on an artificial beach in Dubai by the Burj Al Arab. Has got a private beach, and I spent an hour in the company of a middle-aged Chechen colonel that all he was interested in showing me was his bullet wounds, and that's not a euphemism. And that's absolutely true. And his 18-year-old gymnast model girlfriend, and he's like 60 odd, and he said, "See where I was shot here. Look, see here. Shot in knee, shot in neck." And he had this really scary dude. He was a sort of Chechen colonel who wanted to buy a bank, as you do. So I sort of politely resiled myself from that conversation. But yeah, that was a nice trip to the seaside for sure. But yeah.
That's cool. John?
I just think there's a special corner of hell that is reserved for people who like beach holidays.
Yeah.
I absolutely despise
I'm not keen,
them.
John. I'm not keen at all, mate.
John?
I wouldn't go on a beach holiday if somebody else was supplying the booze and doing all the transport.
John, you fucker. You have some of the best northeastern coast beaches right on your fucking doorstep.
You don't like them. You don't like them.
Saltburn's lovely, and you won't fucking go.
I have probably set foot on the sand once in the last 30 years.
Were you forced by your parents?
Yeah, get out there.
No, I think I dropped something over the side when I was leaning over the side. It dropped me later or something.
Yeah, dropped his fags. Yeah.
And go down the steps onto the beach.
Well, I'm in shock here. Saltburn Beach is absolutely glorious, and that's near John. That's a bombshell because I never knew this. Never knew this at all. Doesn't like it at all.
It's quite boring, though, isn't it? Just sitting there. Don't you find it boring just sitting on the beach?
No, I like watching the world go by. This game's stressful. When we're doing our bollocks, it's nice to fucking sit a day off and just watch the world go by and just.
But you got them Ray-Bans on, so you can watch all the women, can't you? And your eyes you can't tell.
No, producer will protect me because she'll actually say I don't wear my sunglasses enough. We always sit there. I never put them on.
Wrap around Oakley so you can look left and right. Yeah.
Oh God, you're getting me in trouble here.
I am. That's the idea. Yeah.
So, what's he looking at? Anyway, we'll give her a second question because we've only got two more after this. If animals could talk, which species would you most like to have a chat with?
Dogs, and I would ask them to teach me how to suck my own cock.
John?
Yep. John likes that. You can see. I wouldn't waste the question, John. I wouldn't waste the question.
No.
John?
Honestly, I can't tell that.
I'm going to say I can't tell that, to be fair. It takes about 10 seconds to sink in with me, but yeah. They're good at that. Ronnie Omlet, have you been caught red-handed doing a naughty deed?
God. Yeah, loads of times. Not for public consumption, so I'll step aside from that, I think.
Yeah, I've got a similar question coming up. I'd say naughty deed. I think everyone has, haven't they, really? Because everyone likes an angle, likes an edge. But public consumption, it's difficult, isn't it? I will go public with the next one, but...
Go on.
John, have you been caught red-handed with a naughty deed?
Well, I got caught, but technically it wasn't red-handed because I wasn't doing what the person that caught me thought I was doing.
Oh, that's all right. What were you suspected of doing?
I was suspected of negotiating with a prostitute. I was in Middlesbrough with Hitler.
Yeah.
For some reason, I was going to the car park before him. Down there, what used to be the Royal Standard, which was like near the flyover near where the car park was. I was walking past there. And I seen a stream of piss coming from behind one of the big biffer bins.
How romantic.
And then it was immediately followed by someone who was obviously a prostitute.
So coincidental.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she came out and she said, "Oh, hello, love. Do you fancy doing any business?"
What do you have in mind? A startup? An IPO?
Well, this is it, you say. Well, I'm very distracted at the time. It doesn't even enter my head that she's thinking business as regards me shagging her.
Oh.
And I was like, well, what kind of business are you talking about? And then we get into all the fucking semantics and everything. Hitler turned up. He said, are you fucking going with that?
Oh, standing in a pool of urine as well. Oh.
Yeah. I said, what you? He said, he's fucking. Oh, I said,
No,
no,
no.
no, no. I said, no, sorry, love. No, no business, no business.
Terrible misunderstanding, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. Sorry about that. If I hadn't seen you pissing, I wouldn't have stopped. Yeah.
But it's caught my eye, and now, yeah.
Yeah. So, I was more a victim of circumstance, really.
Crikey.
That's what my PR team said, anyway.
Final question. Roscoe, how many of you got the cane slipper at school?
Oh, fucking hell. One of our teachers broke a cane on me. He gave me such a fucking whack across the hand with this cane.
Yeah.
And it snapped in two. You can't help but snigger, can you, when something like that happens?
No. You have to, really.
So, bugger me, you went and got another one.
He buggered
You
you.
know,
Have it again.
Yeah.
To me, that was cheating.
Yeah, you can't have another go, can you? Christ, that's unfair.
You know, I think, he's broke the fucking weapon, that's it, and I've survived, you know. But now he went and got another cheeky bastard.
Chris, have you ever been smashed at school?
No, I've always took my way out of it. It was just at the end of corporal punishment. A few kids used to get it. You normally sort of crack across the hands, etc., with the cane, or you know, when it was outlawed, they used to sort of get round it by sort of throwing the board rubber at people. And some teachers were dead shots, weren't they, at throwing? They used to.
We had 6 to 8 teachers that you shouldn't have been allowed anywhere near kids. They were just absolute.
I agree. Yes, we can all think of teachers, certainly in the 1970s, where you look back now, you think, "Fucking hell," you know, these were sort of bullies, weren't they? But yeah, no, I almost took my way out of it. But yeah, it was a thing for a little while when I was at school, but then it was sort of phased out.
I had the slipper at school, and I have to say, this is why it makes me mad when people slag us off for using language that we used in the 80s and 90s, because when I had the slipper, you had to wait outside the headmaster's office, and they made you wait probably half an hour to an hour, because that was the old fear tactic.
Yep.
You had to bring your own PE bag with your plimsolls that you had for PE.
Right.
And then they pulled my pants down, bent me over the desk, and whacked me 3 times with the slipper on the arse.
God Christ almighty.
I know.
You think you say that out loud now, and you don't even want to chuckle, do you? Because that's like sexually assaulting a small child.
Yeah.
I mean, but that was perfectly acceptable. No one kind of batted an eyelid, really, did they? And you look at it, that's horrible, horrible.
That's what happened to me. I'm not going to tell you why I got it, because I don't really want to, but it's one of them things that I'm just trying to paint it now into today's society, how it gets shocked at the minuscule things. And that was done in my lifetime. That, speaking on this podcast, it's amazing.
It twisted your mind. That's why you got like a neck ring now, haven't you? Please. Oh, it hurts so good. Do it again. Yeah.
Right, this is a cracking show. We've really enjoyed it. We've overrun as usual. Just to finish off, please tune in next week. There'll be no question thread, because it's our 500th show. We've got something special planned for you all. We started this for mental health, and we're going to go to the halfway stage before we retire at 500 shows, going back through our best bits on Bar Stewards over time. We know it's going to make you laugh. So please join in next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. Also, sponsor Jess, the producer of the show, works very hard on her walk next Sunday as well. 22 miles she's doing. It's not an easy task, especially with the elevations involved. So please donate quietly or whatever you can afford. It'd be really appreciated. That's all from us. Bye for now.